This week's energy is all about knowing when to speak and knowing when to stay silent. Gate 12 is known as the gate of caution, and if you've been feeling a little bit extra moody or sensitive or just kind of on edge this week, this gate may be the reason why. Let's talk about how the astrology is stirring up this gate placement so that you can be in control and not let it get you swept away. My name is Brenna. Welcome back to my channel. I am a human design reader and astrologer of 9.5 years. I like to talk about the weekly gate transits and what the overlap is between human design and astrology, including how these energies may show up in your natal chart. In this video, I'm going to be breaking down the days of the week that we're experiencing this transit this year, and it tends to happen around the same time every year, so you'll notice a day or two difference. You can save it for this week, next week, and just use it to generally plan the week ahead so you know what energies you're facing each day. Now, if you also have gate 12 or the gate of caution in your human design body graph naturally, this means that you have a Gemini placement between 22 and 28 degrees. So this will also be applicable to you if you have that placement in Gemini in your natal chart. If you want to know if you have this placement in your chart, you're going to want to look at the throat center. So it's the third box down from the top in your human design body graph. There's a free copy of a chart generator in the comments below. So let's get into the general overview of gate 12 in human design. So this week, or if you have gate 12 in your human design body graph, you're going to feel a little bit hesitant to speak, as you may have guessed, because gate 12 sits in the communication station known as the throat center, and it has this energy or creates this energy dynamic of being slow to speak or sometimes being talked over, especially if you have an undefined throat in your human design body graph. This is also a week where you may be a little bit more prone to second guess yourself, but you may not know why, especially if you already are someone who's a little bit more confident. You may feel a little bit more compelled to keep things quiet. Now, what's also happening at the same time is that we have Jupiter and Mercury in Cancer in gate 15, which is creating this extra energy of really redefining what our values are and what we stand for. So you may be finding that the people that you communicated with up until this point, people you thought were friends, family members that shared the same points of view as you, are actually spreading ways or parting ways and going in a different direction. Now, the balance or the sweet spot that we always want to get to this week, or if you have this placement in your body graph, is figuring out how you're going to have one foot on the gas and one foot on the brakes. And maybe it's a matter of just finding that equilibrium and taking a slow and steady pace through life. You never want to be overly hesitant where you don't make any moves and then get frustrated with yourself. And you don't want to be moving so quickly that you don't even know what you're moving or navigating towards. This will also apply if you have a defined or undefined root chakra in your human design body graph. You can ask me more about that in the comments below if you'd like to know. And really focusing on what is it that I'm going to do this week that is for my greater good, where even though I feel this little bit of hesitation, this little bit of pause, let me take a second or a beat, 5 seconds or 5 minutes. It doesn't have to be that long, especially if you're a manifesting generator like me, and really assess, why am I pursuing this thing, this person, or why am I feeling hesitant? What is my gut telling me? What is my intuition telling me about what I'm observing today? Now, we live in a world that is incredibly rushed all the time, and everything happens in a New York minute, where we're really wondering where time is going. I feel like in today's day and age, in our big age of 2025, what 2 weeks feels like today is what 1 week used to feel like when we were all growing up. It's time is just moving exponentially faster. So in a world where if you have this naturally or this week that's telling you to speed up, speed up, speed up, this is a week that really pushes you to slow down and go against the grain. It's a great moment of pause and to go against the natural flow of things, right? What society has conditioned us to believe is normal, or how we should react and make decisions yesterday, or we're always late, right? I think of the rabbit from Alice in Wonderland. Excuse, I'm late. Right? The I'm late. And really not allowing ourselves to take a moment of pause. So you may frustrate some people, you may ruffle some feathers, you may be inconvenient for people who want you to make rush decisions, but I just urge you for the next 6 days of this transit, or if you have this in your placement naturally, to not go against what feels right for you this week and to really allow yourself to take your time. You can definitely be somebody who's more of an idealistic person, so really watching out for where your dreams and goals get really lofty. I always think of Gemini placements as having fae-like qualities and being a little bit mystical. So this is where we see that kind of extra layer of fantasy that happens with this placement, but that doesn't necessarily mean this is a bad thing, especially if you have a hope motivation in human design. But we're really looking at how can you just enjoy the lighter things in life, showing people what's possible because you take the time to prove to them that you can still be successful by also going against the grain and believing in a more optimistic view of the world. Now, what's really nice about this placement is that you're also somebody who people know that they can rely on because they know, since you are cautious, you really have thought things through and have really marinated on it. So, really paying attention to the fact that this is a gift, right? Our gates are our gifts. These gate transits are gifts that the universe gives us to be able to process why we feel the way that we feel, why we are the way that we are, and our ability to really enact on what our purpose is and allowing ourselves to do things, even if it feels inconvenient to other people, because that's how you start to get the recognition that you deserve. When you're willing to go against the grain, you're confident and calm in that energy, and you can really exude that sense of calm, quiet confidence and knowing that you can rely on yourself, become successful, and you have a track record of said success because you're following the natural cycles and gifts that you have within you. Let's get into how this gate transit is going to affect us for the next 6 days, starting with Friday, June 13th. So today, Friday, June 13th, the day that I'm releasing this video, we are going through a gate 12 transit in the first line, which is known as the line of the monk. And in its exalted placement, or how we want to use this, is knowing when to temper how social you are, where it's this ability to be supported by other people for your introversion, for needing just some alone time to be with you, yourself, and you, me, myself, and I, and really focusing on what it means to be more introverted, having that support. Now, in the opposite aspect of this, it is withdrawal that is like super excessive, and hermiting because you're really fearful of connecting with other people. And it's almost a little bit dramatic, or you're doing it to prove a point. And although that can be helpful, especially where there's a lot of people walking around like raw nerves right now, we just want to temper that energy and make sure that we're doing it for the right reasons. You shouldn't rely so much on your, how do I say this? Like your leaving other people or your removal of your energy from other people as hyperfixating on what their reaction is going to be in relation to trying to trace you down, but rather doing it because you know that you need peace, and you know that you need a little bit of time to come back to center. I also think it's interesting that this is happening on Friday the 13th this year. So there's this shift to being like, okay, what do I need? Where am I going? Maybe I just do some more grounding rituals, or just practice what feels good for me from a spiritual perspective, do grounding in any way, shape, or form, to just kind of reassess and really ask yourself, everything that you're doing right now, is your version of reality for whatever it is that you are pursuing really true? This is a question that's come up, and I've kind of channeled this a lot for people recently, and saying, especially when it comes to your entrepreneurial ventures and your businesses, is my version of this business actually something that provides a solution for people during this time? Is this something that's actually necessary? Or how do I pivot and tweak this to make sure that I am going forward in the proper direction, moving forward, right? So just kind of give yourself a little bit of a litmus test in relationships, both personal, professional, platonic, romantic, etc. And you get that by being comfortable, by being alone. What I'll say is that if you're really fighting this weekend and you don't feel like you can take any time to be alone, there's a huge aspect of being uncomfortable being with your own energy when we notice this. And even other people in your life, I have a feeling if you're here, you just more so observe it in your external reality rather than experiencing it yourself. But when you notice people that are always constantly needing to talk, to be around other people, there's something they're running from within themselves. So don't feel like you have to outsmart them of the lessons that you're supposed to learn by calling back your energy and allowing yourself alone time. I get a lot of fellow healers or people that just make people feel good in this lifetime, and their close friends and family will often take advantage of the fact that they don't have boundaries, right? I always say that givers have to have boundaries because takers never have any. That's a quote that's been circulating for a while, but this is where that monk-like energy will really help you to allow yourself to call your power back. Friday is also ruled by Venus, so it's the day of values. Our money payday is Friday in most places in the world, or at least the US, and so we're really taking advantage of really prioritizing what our values are, and we should figure out how to value ourselves first. Now, on Saturday, June 14th, we have gate 12 in the second line, or if you have this in your profile, you are somebody who's more predisposed to be a natural hermit. Gate 2, or line 2, I should say, in your human design body graph, if that's in your profile, or if you see a lot of 2s in your chart, this will mean that you are somebody who is a hermit. It's literally known as the line of the hermit. Line 1 is the line of the investigator. So it's exploring the energy of this gate. Now we get the actual action of like be a more introverted sense of this gate placement. And so line of purification here really means that you are naturally cautious about the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with, and really just reassessing your social groups. Mercury, or Gemini, is a ruler of Mercury, which is a very communicative sign. So it's like watching our P's and Q's, knowing the people who just want to be around us us because it's good for them to be around us. We inspire them. They want to be us. This is a good placement or person to really help you use your discernment or find that discernment today to just like really assess and judge. Do these people even make me feel good? Just because I've known this friend for forever or I'm related to this person by blood, do they actually make me feel good? Are they actually adding value to my life? And if so, what is that value, right? It doesn't have to be monetary value only, but do they feel life-giving? Are they talking about subjects and things that are of interest to me rather than just people and being negative all the time? What does that kind of look like here? Because that's that sense of purification. Now, in its kind of not so great aspects, or something that could be a trigger point today on Saturday, or just a trigger point to you if you have this in your chart, is doing things out of boredom. We all know someone that has either been that way, we have been that person that has just gotten themselves into trouble when they are bored and just looking for anything to grasp their attention, to just break them out of the habit of boredom. So we just want to make sure that we're doing this in a healthy way, not taking advantage of some unhealthy habits during this day. On Sunday, June 15th, we have gate 12 in the third line, known as the line of confession. And on this day, it's really confessing to oneself where we feel inadequate in our social relationships, not self-flagellating. The exact word is self-hatred in human design vocabulary, where we're not turning it against ourselves and being like, I'm so inadequate, I'm so awkward, I never fit in with anybody. We really want to get away from those negative self-belief and negative self-talk and really pivot towards looking at, well, where do I feel like I just need more from my social interactions? Where do I feel like I just need more from my people? And how is it okay to ask for it? When we confess how we're feeling, when we're honest with our feelings, that is where we first are able to really identify what is bothering us so that we're able to really make good aligned connections for whatever it is that we are looking for out of our community, and really like assessing, especially now more than ever, what a good aligned community means for us. There's also an element during this time to really focus on what is just unnecessary and like an ego driven need in community. Like, where do we just have friends and hang out with friends because we need 10 bridesmaids at our wedding? It's a big theme of this juncture of my life right now, and really just taking stock of like who's there because you actually enjoy being in their company versus who are just people that, again, you've known for a long time. On the fourth day of this transit, we have gate 12 in the fourth line, which is known as the line of the prophet. And really, it's just this energy of knowing like, okay, for the last 3 days, we've been introverted. We have taken a step back and really just assess who we value, what we want to do with our time. And now we're ready to engage with other people. In its detrimented aspect, or if you have this in a little bit of a more challenging aspect in your human design body graph, we're really focusing on being like a voice that falls on deaf ears. The fourth line also really tells us to appreciate that we are exponentially more so the sum of the 5 people we spend the most time with. So if people aren't listening, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're wrong. It's just that your voice is falling on deaf ears who don't appreciate this. So just be a little bit of aware of that for Monday. On Tuesday, June 17th, we have the line of the pragmatist, and this is an energy of really being aware of light, being always aware of the darkness, that at any moment things can change very quickly. So we really want to celebrate the good things as they're happening, even if they exist simultaneously to the not so enjoyable or darker aspects of life, really paying attention to making sure that we just make the most out of it today. Tuesday is also ruled by Mars. Mars Day is Tuesday, so a day to take action. Monday's Moon Day, so it's a little bit more emotionally centric or emotionally centered. Emo-centric, whereas Tuesday today, we're focusing really on moving forward. If you have this energy in your human design body graph, you like forward momentum and appreciate forward momentum. Now, in a not so great way, this can manifest as just hyper focusing on the negative all the time and really hyper focusing on communicating. Remember gate 12 of cautioning everybody else about all the bad things that have ever happened to you and not really focusing on the benefits of everything. So really focusing on the silver lining today is going to be supported, but know that it may feel a little bit challenging to do so. And last but not least, on Wednesday, June 16th, we have gate 12 in the 6th line, known as the gate of the role model, but also more specifically metamorphosis. With this gate placement, last but not least today on Wednesday, we're really focusing on how we have transformed our social experiences, really allowing ourselves to be transformative in the midst of community and transforming the lives of other people around us. But of course, not forgetting that after we have taken the proper caution to set ourselves up for success for that during the week. So you can see how it's kind of like this cocoon to butterfly moment where we've had that metamorphosis of being introverted, connecting with our people in a slow and sustainable way, and then ready to show up and show out again. the main point of this last day is to really know where you want to push past social limits and where you are accepting social limitations just as an ability to introvert yourself a little bit further. We want to find that balance of connecting and making the effort to connect with people that are more aligned for us this week, that help us professionally, emotionally, in our family, in our friendships, in our professional relationships, that are just more beneficial across the board. So this is teaching us how to communicate those needs, how to be aware and discerning of who will actually understand how those needs need to be met. I hope you enjoyed this video and feel prepared for the week ahead. Next week, we will also have the sun in gate 15 where Jupiter and Mercury will be. So that'll be some very interesting energy. It's known as the gate of extremes. And if you look at my energy of the day for Monday, June 9th, I'll post the link here. But we're really noticing this extra emphasis on things changing very quickly. The more you can really allow yourself to lean into taking your time, proceeding with caution, and making sure that you're sharing your social energy, your social battery, your good energetic alignment with the right people in the right places in the right time, that's how you're really going to excel at really feeling aligned and much more peaceful this week, even when people try to test you. I will see you next week for the Gate 15 transit for the Gate of the Week series that I'm doing here. Remember to listen back to this on specific days that you want to just get a little bit more aligned with the energy. And then for the week of Gate 15, Gate of Extremes, we have been feeling this. I did post a video about this on Monday, June 9th, because we had Jupiter and Mercury that were in Gate 15 together. We're going to feel an extra emphasis of that with the sun in gate 15 too. So I'm going to help you ride the wave to be able to make sure that you feel prepared and energetically aligned to make the most out of the energy in these crazy kind of challenging and shifting times. So if you have any questions about how to apply this using your energy type or anything else that has come up, anything else you want me to make content around, please feel free to leave me a comment in the comments below, and I would be happy to help you and prioritize content just for you. I will see you guys soon. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you and supporting me.